Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to the Garden Report. Big news today as the Celtics beat the Pistons 128-112. Can't escape this Ime Udoka story, and the Nets have declined to hire him. They named Jacque Vaughn their head coach today and move on, reportedly because they don't want more distraction with that story, that controversy, and the layers of it with Kyrie Irving and Udoka amounting to just too much for this Nets team to handle. That seemed to be what led them to not hire Udoka after he emerged as a front-runner candidate. Who knows? They may be able to circle back to him eventually. Found it interesting that they said their ability to contend in the East might have played into naming Vaughn the coach rather than Udoka. But for now, Udoka remains with the Celtics, and I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how everything's will unfold because I think, me included, it looked like this was going to happen. It looked like the Brooklyn Nets were going to, bypass the objections, bypass the people who have been, I guess, according to reports, right, telling them not to do this, don't make this move. And I think they may have made the right decision today, honestly, because when you look at everything, when you look at the pros and the cons of the situation, it would have been a big risk. And obviously, this is a Hail Mary play, right? This isn't ideal. They're down to their last options here. They're just trying to salvage the season at this point. And I just think all the noise, all the outside noise, and what would have been 2 to 3 weeks of outside noise combined with adjusting to the players and his coaching style, and just overall, Ime would have to he would be put in this tough situation. I mean, none of this is ideal, on both ends. And I think the Brooklyn Nets they played it safe this time. And it's not, again, I don't blame them. I really don't.
Question is whether another opportunity becomes available mid-season. That'd be, again, the easiest way for the Celtics to get out of this.
Right.
I don't think anyone thinks that he's going to coach for this team again, but that's what puts the players in a weird spot. Are they confused again? Now he's back. Is he in line to come back and replace Joe Mazzulla again? I remember I asked a couple games ago when this report was out there whether or not they're removing that interim tag from Mazzulla, and Joe said they haven't. So that's a move that the Celtics, I think, are going to have to make in pretty short order. I'm sure they're still figuring out all this stuff behind the scenes, and now it's back on their plate. But from their perspective, we talked about the Nets. We talked about them on postgame. It's almost a good thing, I feel like, that he's not going to be coaching Brooklyn because he's not there. He's not visiting Boston in the months to come. They play them 4 times. And for the assistants of the Celtics, there's not that lure. It's certainly not in season, but after the season's done, to potentially join their old boss here. Like, they can just kind of regroup around Mazzulla once this year is done. And again, he could take another job next year, but this just kind of keeps him sidelined for now, and that topic isn't front and center for these players, keeping them confused and frustrated.
Right, and that happened less than 24 hours after the news dropped, where Marcus Smart was saying, well, I was under the impression that he was going to come back. So, Joe Mazzulla talked about it briefly before the game. He mentioned how it is something he's willing to speak to the players about, but he's not going to address as a team. He said, look, my door is open. If players want to talk to me about it, I'm not going to say, no, we can't discuss Ime Udoka situation. So I think that's a good thing for the players. If anything, it lets them talk to their new head coach and just sort of get a whatever that's on their mind, they can get that out, and they sort of had that connection. So I think that's a good thing for the Celtics players. But yeah, Bobby, you're right. I mean, if Ime were to go to Brooklyn, it would have been awkward for the Celtics players, but it also would have been tough because you always would have been wondering, if things go wrong for the Celtics, right? Let's say if their second round knockout or whatever the case may be, and they're thinking, man, this season things could have been differently if we had Ime. Maybe the Celtics could have given him a second chance. And then you go down the road of, well, what did he do? What are the specifics? Why didn't they tell us? So now,
also, the Smart's question was, why can't he coach here and he can coach there? And now he's not coaching there.
Because now that he's not coaching there, it's like, well, wait a minute, okay, maybe this is the right decision. Maybe, other teams around the league are going to be scared off as well, which I think they will be, at least for this season. I don't think Ime will get an offer mid-season, even if someone gets fired, even if it's a top-tier team that's in the mix. I think this pushes things down the road to the offseason, if anything. Maybe he gets an assistant job. Maybe he does get a head coaching job. I don't think Ime will not coach in the NBA ever again, but I do think that this delays his return, I think, in one way or another.
I agree, and it does make the Nets look good by default, I guess, the fact that they backtrack out of this, and it may not have been the fact that they objected to whatever they found out or the details of whatever he was suspended for. I think that Kyrie Irving situation overlapping with that just gave them an easy excuse to say, all right, he might not play again this year. We might have to regroup and figure out where we're going as an organization and pulling Udoka into that isn't the best move right now, and maybe they circle back later. We're brought to you by Calm. Calm.com/garden gets you 40% off a premium subscription. They're great apps, sleep sounds, meditation, yoga, the calm of the day, and more, as well as athleticgreens.com/garden. 5 free travel packs. They're great powder. Go check out what's in it. Ton of stuff that's good for you, as well as a year's supply of immune-boosting vitamin D. Very important this time of year. For Josue Pavon, Bobby Manning, CLNS Media, and Celtics All Access, Celtics 128-112 winners over the Pistons here. Good night.